Hi, everyone, and thanks a lot for tuning in. Today, I have a special guest, Tehra, and we will really unpack what's going on with the AI engine optimization. So, for the listeners, Tehra, do you want to really start unpacking with like what does really AI engine optimization mean?
Yes, and you've probably heard many different terms to refer to the same thing. There are nuances in the different terms that people use. I personally call it answer engine optimization
Oh,
because
that's a good one.
being in marketing, yeah, it's like you're trying to provide an answer for something, but you might see it as answer engine optimization, generative engine optimization,
Yeah,
AI engine, AI search optimization, LLM optimization. But it all amounts to the way that you create and share your content so that it can be found and used by any kind of LLM search engine. So that could be ChatGPT, it could be Gemini for Google AI overviews, Perplexity, Claude. They all kind of they use slightly different ways to find information, but you
right.
want your content to be found.
Absolutely. And for everyone tuning in, I mean, I think all of us are using different things. Like maybe, like I use Perplexity a lot. That's my go-to engine. But like some of you may be using Copilot or ChatGPT, or as you said, Tehra, like many others. But like, how do we get the content right inside that AI engine is really critical. So maybe moving to like, I think for the marketing leaders who are really familiar with the search engine optimization, I'm getting this question a lot. Like, I mean, if I keep the search engine optimization focus in my company, do I really need to do any AI engine optimization? So I want to hear your take on it.
Yeah, there are definitely some different practices that come along with adding, visibility for AI search. So, it's all kind of buzzwords right now when we say AEO and GEO. It's all part of SEO. This is just like the next evolution of SEO. And I think that maybe in another year, we might not even use the term answer engine optimization anymore. We might just say it's all SEO. But it's kind of trendy. So, it's important to know like why that's changing. So the thing with traditional SEO, it's built a lot around keywords, which keywords are still good. You have to include them in your search optimization strategy. But for LLMs, you are structuring your content to answer questions. So that's just a little bit different instead of
It is.
optimizing
It is.
for a keyword. Yeah. So like one of the best tactics that I've had success with is, you take a question that you want to answer, you literally write your question as the title of a blog article or another piece of content. And then you make sure you answer the question right away, just at the very top of your content. And then you can elaborate and add more depth. But that's, for example, just a very different approach from SEO. Like not too different. They do have shared characteristics. Then there are other things that you do if your content lives on your website. You might use something called schema markup. With it gets a little in the weeds, but
Yeah.
it's just the way that you flag your content to say this is a Q&A or this is an FAQ or a how-to article. And if you do that, then some of those LLM search tools, they favor your content and they might be more likely to pull it into a response related to how to do this specific thing. So those are just a couple of the tactics that change when you start to optimize for LLMs. And then on top of that, there's just a whole other set of tools that you would use to measure your visibility in those
Absolutely.
answers.
And I think in the upcoming like questions, I will ask more details on this, especially on the measurement side. But in really simple terms, I think the you highlighted well. Like really, the search engine optimization was really like people were searching keywords, and then like if you again the dominant player in this place is of course Google. So when you Google something, it was really like trying to get a link out of that. But with the answer engines, as you call it. So with all this AI, I mean, you are looking for the answer itself. So you don't have to look for any other resources. And of course, this is really an important shift in the user behavior. And I want to underline the part that you highlighted. So imagine you're answering the question. So that FAQ mentality is the key thing. So like maybe you haven't really paying attention as a marketing leader to like I will put a image, it will explain it visually, but like it doesn't maybe do the same justification on an AI engine. So I think that the mindset shift is happening right there. It's like more text heavy, and then really like really looking at it from a frequently asked question perspective and training the engine itself backwards, right?
Yes. Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
So with that, again, like I mean, I think we touched a little bit, but like I want to really explain in a very simple term, like how AI engines today, like Copilots, Geminis, and ChatGPTs of the world, really actually consume the content.
Yes. So, Nuri, you know all about RAG. Just in case people who were listening have not heard of RAG, this is retrieval augmented generation. And this is what a lot of LLM models are doing to keep their information fresh. So, when you have a model, it's trained on a set of data, but they only update training every once in a while. If you want to keep your model fresh and go out there and get new information, you're using some AI search tools to access the internet and go do regular searches. So all of these LLMs use RAG to go out and get new information from the internet. So when you're publishing content on your website, you can put something up and the ChatGPT bot might be on it just an hour or two later, already accessing it, trying to retrieve what it wants to use in its answers. OpenAI, they don't always go to Google for that search. They have a combination of proprietary tools and APIs, and then like partners that they do searches with. Some of their sources do come from Google. So
Yeah.
OpenAI will use Google, search as part of its answers. If you're looking at something like Google AI Overviews, which also uses an LLM, Gemini, to create its summaries, the AI overview summaries that you see when you do a Google search, they obviously use their own AI search platform because it's the best, and they just kind of retrieve information from a typical Google search and then use Gemini to provide a summary. So there's extra special like algorithms and stuff that happen and steps in the process, but in general, you can pretty much count on like you put content on your website and it is able to be indexed in a normal way, like it's discoverable by Google, then you're in good shape. The ChatGPT bots and Perplexity bots, all those bots are going to be able to find your content without you having to do anything else. So you can just take for granted that they're able to find it if it's relevant.
Yeah. But there are a couple of nuances I want to maybe highlight. So, first one is I think for the individuals who worked on search engine optimization, there is this robots.txt file where you put it on your website, and then it really gives the search engine bot like how to index the website and which contents. Similar to that, like now we are having this LLM's txt file. So, do you want to share a little bit like more about like how that LLM guidance works on the websites?
Yeah, it's a pretty simple step to so you'll want to be friends with your webmaster, make sure that you can get this file put up on your website. But what you're doing is creating an LLMs.txt file that indexes the general layout of your website. It's just kind of an outline, and it's friendly to LLMs. It makes it really easy for the LLM crawlers to go to your website and see what it's about in general and what the different sections of your website are. So that can be helpful. So last time I checked, OpenAI had not said definitively whether they use
Use,
LLM's
yeah,
text. Some of them do, some of them don't. I'm not really sure who's using it, but it's a good idea to have an LLM's text
absolutely.
file on your website.
Absolutely. And maybe before jumping to the next topic, so I think the content syndication is also like as critical. Like, I mean, having the content on your website is definitely critical, but we worked on a couple of projects like I think Reddit and some other sites who are really like providing some heavy context to the users. It increases the validity of the content. So it's not about like you publishing it, but like also the same content can be found across the internet, will increase I think your potential to be on the AI engines, right?
Yes, bingo. That is a part of your overall enterprise AI strategy when it comes to AEO. Having your brand and your products talked about on third-party sites that have authority on that topic is a super important part. So you don't need to think that like all of the content that is feeding these LLMs has to come from your site. It's really good if you have Reddit, content where user generated content that's saying, here's what this product does, here's why I like it. That's seen as like very authoritative right now.
Right.
And then same thing with like industry third party sites. If you can contribute content to them, maybe like contribute an article on a feature that your product covers. See if you can get that site to publish it. And that's a really good thing. So, again, that's kind of contrast to traditional SEO, which is built around trying to get as much traffic to your site.
Yeah.
With AEO, it's cool also if other sites just mention your brand.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I think we will come to like the trade-offs at the end. So like, I mean, because like, can you manipulate some of the answers and everything? Like, what's the security? But like, before going there, so like, I know like there's a lot of marketing leaders watching this right now. So like, why it is important? Like, we are almost end of 2025, and I call it this. This was the year of AI, with like from the DeepSeek movement till the GPT 5.2 right now and Gemini 3. Like, it was all year long, like launches and launches, and then like. But I want to hear your thoughts, Tehra. Like, I mean, why the AI or answer engine optimization right now?
Yeah. So back in 2024, which this is getting a little old now, but Gartner came out and predicted that the traditional search engine queries were going to decrease by 25% by 2026. They haven't updated that, so I don't know if that's like on track to still be the case. But then Adobe also came out with a study that said that 77% of Americans who use ChatGPT treat it as a search engine. So that's the first reason that you should care and pay attention to AI search tools, because people are using them more. So whether those are consumers or business decision makers, a lot of business decision makers, you've got that long and complex buying cycle, and they're outsourcing a lot of their research to ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever their tool of choice is, that they're trying to get a comparison of the different products that are on the market and, what the difference is in pricing and features. You should definitely care about that because LLMs still hallucinate. I've had cases where I've researched a product, either for fun or as part of my business, trying to figure out which bookkeeping software to use or project management software. And ChatGPT will make me a nice table that compares products side by side, but sometimes they get the pricing wrong. Or sometimes it'll hallucinate an idea that this product is best for this use case, where maybe that's not your product positioning. Maybe you would rather it respond differently. So part of what you're trying to do with answer engine optimization is make sure that it's super easy for those LLM bots to find the most up-to-date pricing and product features, and that your positioning is super, super clear and they can position it the right way so that they're not just hallucinating differences between you and your competition that aren't accurate and aren't in line with your positioning strategy.
Absolutely, absolutely. I believe again, like there's gonna be more and more AI usage in the near term, and like at a point of time, I believe like we will stop doing searches, and then like with the intuitive way of like talking to your like AI assistant, it's really getting the information. So I think the validity is really important, and as you said, the more data is accurate, then like your company or your product is well positioned in the market. So I think like this is like no brainer for everyone, I guess. Like one of the things that a marketer needs to measure is the ROI, and it's a little bit like tough here because like and now I think we will get into the tools like because personally again today at Snowflake I use a couple of AI tools to like see where we rank on different platforms, and then how do we improve? But I want to get your take on, like, I mean, how does the measurement in this answer engine optimization works, and then specifically, like, can we measure ROI?
Yeah, so metrics are mostly going to be like how often do you turn up in a search related to, any kind of answer that you think people are asking. This gets a little tricky because while Google will share keyword volume data and rankings, OpenAI, other LLMs, they don't share how often people are asking a certain question or how often they're asking questions related to a certain topic. So you don't get the benefit of knowing like volume there. So you're trying to come up with questions that you think your customers are likely to ask. So if you are doing product marketing for a accounting bookkeeping software like I mentioned earlier, then you may want to come up with the prompts that you think people are asking ChatGPT or Google for AI overviews or Perplexity or whatever other search engine. And they might look like, what's the best bookkeeping software for a small business owner, or what bookkeeping software integrates with a time tracking tool. So, there's an art in coming up with that list of likely questions. And by the way, this is something that you could use ChatGPT or another LLM to help you come up with some of those questions. But, you come up with likely prompts and you put them into your tracking software of choice, which there are many, and you measure how often you're coming up. And it's, there are two key metrics there. One is how often is your brand being mentioned in the answer?
Yeah.
And like Nuri mentioned earlier, it could be the case where people on Reddit are talking about your brand and that's a mention, or it could be your own content that's coming up and your brand is mentioned because of that content being sourced. And then the other metric is citations. So how often is the LLM actually going to your content that you own, that you have on your website, to find an answer? So the interesting thing about LLMs, again, is they're a black box and they are inherently a little bit random. So when you start to use one of these tools to start tracking your prompts and visibility and how often you're showing up, this was like the first big barrier I encountered when I started learning about this. Is why aren't the answers the same? Why don't I get the same visibility every time I run this prompt? I'm getting different results.
Yeah.
It's inherently
An
random.
interesting one is the one, like, I mean, we know that OpenAI has a strong partnership with Microsoft, and the interesting thing is the training data is the same for OpenAI and Copilot, but because the inferencing engine, which is like extracting all the information, is different, then even on the same training data, you get like different results. So,
Yes.
and again, like back to the tooling discussion. So, just to give some hints to the audience, like, I tried Profound as an tool. It's really helping at least like get snapshot. But I want to maybe pause on that one, like, because I know you started a new company called On Marketing. So do you want to maybe share, like, I mean, some of the services On Marketing provides, especially on the AI engine optimization or answer engine optimization side?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do, reporting and visibility measurement, and we use several different tools. They're just, they have different strengths in different areas, and then it kind of depends on what you want to track. So we do reporting, and then we also provide keyword and prompt query like suggestions and research and recommendations to help you find which prompts you should be monitoring and where there might be gaps in the content that you have. We produce original content, with which original content is really important to answer engine optimization, and then consulting on the structure of your content. Most of the time that appears on your website, so we'll make recommendations about schema markup and structuring your headers and just kind of how to put together that piece of content. So that's what we do it On Marketing. It's a lot of fun. And I do have a lot of different tool recommendations based on price point and what you're trying to do and how often, how frequently you want to measure.
Absolutely. And I think I want to like really explain the importance. Like the tools are just like tools. Like without the insights and without the oversight, it doesn't really give you any like depth. So again, in that sense, like thanks to on marketing, uh, experience, so like we can really get those insights, like not just from the tools, but like from on marketing. I think this is a great benefit for the companies. And maybe on a note, like this is gonna, I think, a big topic for 2026 and forward. But like I want to get your thoughts on the future of AI answer engine optimization, or AI engine optimization. So how do you think this will shape the next 4 years specifically? Like because like I have a theory that like by 2030 every company will be an AI company. I'm living with that motto. And then like I want to make sure like AI is gonna be everywhere. And then like how do we really put AI engine optimization into the right place? And then like especially what will be your recommendations for the audience listening in for 2026?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my biggest recommendation for everybody going into 2026 is get some kind of monitoring set up, so that when you start to do new things with your content or your marketing strategy in general to improve visibility, that you have a baseline already and you can share with your team, hey, we went from zero visibility in ChatGPT for this query to, now we're showing up half of the time, or now we're showing up consistently. So having that baseline to measure is so important so that you can show that starting point. But where I think answer engine optimization is going, I think the marketers who are really serious about it right now are still early. So, as a marketer, you can give yourself a competitive advantage by just kind of learning some of these strategies now. I think in a year, we're all going to know a lot more about just how to do this. It's going to be more general knowledge. So, just for your own competitive abilities, like learn it now, be ahead of the curve. I think that we're going to probably stop calling it AI search optimization or answer engine optimization, and we'll just go back to calling it all search engine optimization, because it is all SEO. It's just new layers of SEO. And what I'm seeing with the tools that are on the market is they're evolving so quickly. I sit in on a lot of webinars and partner, agency marketing sessions, and customer support, and walk through new features with multiple tools, and they're adding new features very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So one of the big things that I think they're doing now, and they haven't quite figured out, is trying to give you a sense of which prompts are rising and falling. So, like I said earlier, nobody can tell you what the traffic is or the volume is on certain topics, but a lot of these measurement tools are starting to use, like, third party data. They don't really say where it comes from, but they have their ways of sort of like guessing at which topics and prompts are becoming more popular. So that's something that you start to see with some of these tools. The other thing is, if you do use an SEO platform like SEMrush or Ahrefs, they are adding more and more AI visibility measurement capabilities all the time. And sometimes that's an add-on package that you have to like pay more to get the toolkit. But I'm seeing like pricing, feature set, levels of offerings just kind of changing all the time, because all of these software providers are just figuring out how to put together a really
Absolutely.
useful monitoring tool.
Yeah, but it's great that, like as you mentioned, every company is adding some AI search features or AI implementation, so you can understand what the customers are really looking for. And then I parked this question at the end, but like um, we all discuss about the influence of engines on like the behavior, and we have seen a lot, especially Anthropic is leading the way in that sense. Like how do we get a secure AI? They're doing a lot of the tests, and in my opinion, again, AGI is approaching every single day. And before we go there, like we want to make sure all the answers are not biased, not manipulated. So I want to get your take on this one, because it's really hard. Like if you repeat it like a billion times, and then if you are a part of the training data, you can just hallucinate as an AI engine, and then the results that you are showing will be influenced. But again, it doesn't really change the way of SEO today. Like, I mean, people use all this tricky keywords to land to that website, and then like they use the analysis. But I think there will be a trade-off in both sides. But I want to get your take. Like, how do you see the AI engine training, especially for specifically privacy sensitive content, and like training for non-bias action? So
Yeah. I mean, the best thing you can do if you are putting content out there that you want to be found is make sure it truly is accurate and authoritative and insightful. So, it's great to use AI tools to help you, come up with an outline for a piece of content or do a little research, but you should never be turning over everything to an LLM without some human oversight. And Nuri, you talk about this in your book, that AI is really it's our assistant. It's our tool that we use, but we are still the owners of the strategy, and have to make sure that that content is accurate. So as you're generating content, like, it's okay to use those tools, but make sure that you really are talking to a subject matter expert and they know what they're talking about, and you're adding something new to the conversation instead of just regenerating what's already out there, because that's not going to help with your visibility either. All of these LLMs prioritize content that is different and original and add something new to the conversation. So if you're just aggregating and summarizing what's already there, it's not new. You're not adding anything to the conversation. So I really am excited about how making it easier to generate content gives you more of a chance to tap into those experts that you have in your own company, who can, they're really brilliant people. They just don't have time to write. So as you're creating content, talk to those people, talk to the experts, double check yourself, make sure you're not putting content out there that is inaccurate. And you'll be rewarded by the search engines for it, because they're getting really, really good at knowing when something is valuable and original.
absolutely, I think that responsive AI is really critical at the content side. Especially, you highlighted like how companies should treat the like internal and also like how do you use the systems. But also there's a huge responsibility for this frontier labs, because like they shouldn't shortcut the things to promote. Like again, like as a marketing leader, I'm really curious to see in 2026, most likely we will see in-app purchases. So again, like when I call it, like
Yeah.
there is no like specific product placement yet. I mean, if you remember all the Facebook early days, I mean, they added the banners into the feed. If you go Instagram, like, I mean, they have all this rollovers, and then like on YouTube, you have like, I mean, within the AI tools, you barely see some product promotions. But like, if it becomes like a part of the answer itself, and then the AI frontier company starts to monetize that answer space, that's a tricky spot to be in, because then you are losing the fidelity, and really you might be adding biasy, and like whoever pays more then might get into the brains of people, because like most of the users are not going to be just humans. There will be AI agents, and then you might be affecting interesting cycle of events which will trigger unsafe world with the AI. So again, that's super critical. And with that, again, like you highlighted, but I want to maybe come up with like the AI company. So like I want to highlight. So the book is out last week. So I have been seeing a great traction, but like if you haven't read it, so again, I recommend everyone, because I'm really concerned about the safety aspect of AI. And I want to make sure with all this AI engine optimization, we are really spending the right time and effort to do the right thing, versus tricking the AI systems to tell what is not even real. So again, like that's a really thin line between those decisions. But like with that, I know we have a minute left, but any like final call to action, Tehra, that you want to share with the marketing leaders who are tuning in? What should they do in 2026 to be ahead of the game?
Yes, start tracking right now. Just a little pilot program is enough. There are tools out there where you can get started for $20 a month if that's all you have in your budget. And just tracking like 5 to 10 prompts. See where you are, see where you're showing up. This is super easy to do. It's just such a quick win. So I'd encourage everybody to start 2026 with some kind of tracking tool.
Awesome. With that, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Tehra, for sharing your wisdom on the answer engine optimization. And I want to say happy holidays to everyone. And let's meet in another Lunch and Learn in 2026. Thank you.
Thanks, Nuri.